See, I thought this would be useful because my mask, although it is just part cat and bird, there are more pieces coming. I'm using the fiery skeleton to be an etheric component to my transformations. Do you like it? My transformations? It doesn't matter what you like!
Check this out. I just went out there because I'm charging my lawnmower. Fortunately, from where it's at, and I like the spot it's in because of its color and the symbolism of it. But neither here nor there. When I was coming back inside, I could see the headlights were on. So I went and adjusted it, and I didn't have the key, so it could charge. All right. Slowly, it charges up. It's fine. It's fine. Then I walked around and I cleared all the stuff because I have to pick the stuff up and not just run over it. But I went along my lines of, where my shit's at and picked up trash and moved shit around and sort of juggled and moved and cleaned up shit as I went. When I came around where the chicken coop was, I come around the back because there's a box over there and I want to pick it up and burn it, not just sit it on the side. When I looked inside of there, I was very pleased. But I took it with me along my way. And when I came to the first chicken cage that was the outside cage, when I made the corner, I saw a big black cat like going into it. And I was like, what the fuck? Like how they do when they're shaking their butt and about to jump. But this was about a way too big to be a cat that you would encounter. And when I went around and set the stuff down and pulled out of there what I wanted to take for trash and looked about the square, that's how much bigger it was. Like a bob. My dad had the bobcat bite him in there. I never saw it, but the energy of that. Hold on. Let's go back. I am accumulating it as I go through this threshold door in accordance with what this. And I'm listening to Gigi, and she's on her shit.
So we all know that there are so many types of attacks, and there's certain technologies and weapons that could do what an atomic bomb could do without the fallout, or we've come so far. But I just want to draw people's attention to the reality that why people still talk about atomic weapons and that technology is because it is actually, in the occult sense, it tears a hole in the veil. Okay? So if you're just doing like an EMP attack, all right, or you're doing other attacks that don't use this particular occult technology, they may paralyze a country. Okay? But they're not going to tear a hole in the veil. So we have to understand war as an occult action.
That's all I see
War
it
as
as.
a spiritual function, not just war on its most mundane level about gaining power and gaining control. That is the most mundane level of war. There's a higher level of war, which is about actually summoning beings from the lower planes to get them to walk amongst humanity. These are demonic beings, right? That's part of war. Part of war is absolutely summoning and trying to get demonic entities to walk among humanity. Through blood, through death, through pain, through strife, and now through certain technologies that are weapons, but have an occult effect.
She's right. She's got some finer details that I didn't know, although I do know about Ahriman. I do know he'll be the Antichrist. I do know he's some technical fucking reptilian overlord, non-Luciferian. He's the other end. He crush you. So I'm having my dinner in my world energetically combat against a lot of the bullshit because I'm not participating. I'm not participating in their bullshit. I'm not watching it. I'm not being affected by it. I'm doing something else because I'm pretty sure I'm aware of what the problem is on Earth right now, and I don't need to be fucking with around. Spiritual warfare is a constant thing, to guard your mind and your spirit while on the earth. It can be very difficult, but it's good to know how to go about it, or at least know how to make your efforts assist the efforts of those that need the assistance, because that's the war that never stops. The other bullshit of the world, they're doing black magic rituals and killing everybody and sacrificing us already. They're sacrificing you already. Check your food ingredients.
And so we're not coming around necessarily to see this yet. But the moment we start looking at the occult level of war, which is that certain land has ceremonial value and the elementals are tuned in a certain way, and there are portals in certain places. So the land is important to black magicians, it's not as important to people in the light. Not as important to people. For people in the dark, it's everything. The other thing is what happens when people die. Forces that create tears in the veil. When massive amounts of people die at once. When people are in pain, when people are in agony, strife, grief. This brings the lower world very close to us, and these people know that. Don't think that they don't know that. So in our day and age, because we do have such advanced technologies, we can no longer look at war and these people that run the world as simply a material thing, as a material conflict about money, about power. In the most rudimentary sense, no, we have to look at the spiritual if we really want to understand it. And the fact that we don't do that as a society allows these things to continue, otherwise do see it happening a lot more. Hi, Gigi. Recently you talked about Israel and the real reason for the dome, Iron Dome protection. You mentioned special energies dwelling there because the great sacrifice of Christ that took place. And new technologies that need this specific energy to function. First thing that came to my mind was the Holy Grail. Can you elaborate more on these technologies and energies? Yeah, so for me, just dipping back into what we were just talking about with holy lands.
Holy fuck.
Back before Christ, the pagan traditions would sort of project themselves outward into nature. And it was more about leaving your body. And you would sort of discover things, truths, knowledge, and even some things about yourself by projecting outward. And this really characterizes how humanity existed before the incarnation of Christ and the Holy One. And then after the incarnation of Christ, we see humanity begin to function in a completely different way. Because through Christ's sacrifice, the cosmic stream of reality was integrated into the earth and the human being, making it so every human being could basically perform the tasks that they'd have to do to leave their body with great effort could now be done by training yourself to go within. So now everything can be done within the human being. Okay, so that's the difference between the pagan traditions and the post-Christ traditions, right? And consciousness was very different, especially 6,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, as well. And so there's this stark difference. And so if you're looking at the occult traditions that are pre-Christ, they don't acknowledge that certain spiritual feats can be done within the human being. Okay, they are absolutely trying to work within this very old magical style, which some people will call it Babylonian magic or the Babylonian tradition, which is basically playing God. So at that at the point of the Egypto-Chaldean Babylonian epoch, humanity had reached a level where they were kind of dangerous in a way, where they were coming into a solidification of their mind to become more and more and more self-aware and more intellectual, more deeply rooted in the self. But they also were still in this more pagan moment of being able to almost break down nature into pieces in order to control it. So basically understanding what every season is and understanding what every single elemental being is and what the powers are. And so it's almost like by the end of the pagan era, nature was categorized into pieces and used ritualistically under the will of certain magicians. And that was never really how it was supposed to be. You were supposed to merge with the elemental forces out of complete love and harmony. I mean, the whole pagan tradition at its core and at its peak was never about controlling animals. It was never about controlling elementals. It was never about control. It was never about breaking, the nature down into pieces so that you could control nature. That was the dark shadow fall of the pagan era and of the Egypto-Chaldean era, which was the fact that suddenly we started to use this intense knowledge about the elemental kingdom and about the earth and about the cosmos. We started to just try to have all of that wisdom, all that ritualistic wisdom, and we were using it to control other people. We were using it to manifest certain things only, and there was no respect for harmony anymore, and man was making himself a god, trying to make himself a god by subjecting everything and everyone to his will. This is not what the initial pagan traditions were supposed to be about at all. They're actually about being the stewards of these natural kingdoms of life in which God was resting. So some of the modern forms of paganism don't resemble at all any of what it originally was, unfortunately. A lot of it is about what can I get, what can I manifest for myself, which is actually a vestige of this older time of high magic, really, in Babylon, where people were finally preparing to have Christ enter them, which is the ultimate individuality experience. But they still had all this advanced knowledge about the world and magical forces, the stars, and what every tree species means, and they have this incredible ritual knowledge about the world. And so all of that impulse, that darker impulse, they see the world as something to ultimately be controlled.
So I wonder, hold on. That changes who those Sumerian gods are. I think that makes them definitely humans doing that magic, not aliens, not gods. That tells on them. Did I think there was an Eber? No, I didn't believe that anymore. I wondered if they lived underground or something like that, perhaps. Just where I would think, when I think about where that influence is coming from, I already knew. When it got to the point of I wondered and thought about it, and it ceased to emanate from space and began to emanate from under the ground. Bada bing, bada bam, bada boom. So I done heard her say that, and I'm definitely feeling that shit. I think she's right, because right now, I will not participate in their war effort. I will not participate in any more of this killing humans. Any of them. There's no point in doing all that. There's no point. I don't give a fuck about I have my natural leanings one way or the other, but I'm not going to yield that over to them to play with my mind about on the TV or any other thing. I'm doing something else. I have how I feel about that and things, and I suggest everyone should do the same, because we ain't got no time for that. And then, like she had said too, she's like, we know there will be. I'm already waiting for Ahriman, because I know Ahriman will come. I know Ahriman will be the guy. I don't want nothing to do with his fucking sorry ass Lucifer either. I'm not into those that far off onto this one end or the other. No, I don't. No, not doing it.